Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Afi and I am back again with another video. I feel like in some of the videos I sound like I'm whispering. I'm not whispering, but I sort of am because you don't want to be too loud and stuff like that. So anyway, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This video is going to be a song inspiration. I feel like I'm really coming back with these song inspirations, but it's also because like I'm taking them in different directions, so I really like doing them. Um, so I'm going to be talking about the song called People by Jonathan McReynolds. And I will preface by saying that I'm using my laptop because I did not feel like writing down all the notes. My laziness is really coming through, but so I just, I'm using my laptop for this. So I'm going to be looking in this direction. That's why. Okay, great. So this song People is off of his People album. I've already done one song inspiration about this album, about the song called Situation. I'm going to link it down below. And you can go watch that. I think the video is called A Little Encouragement or something like that, but essentially it's from the People album. It's the song Situation. So this is the song People. And the reason why I picked this song to sort of like end the month, because this video is going to come out on Wednesday or something like that, like towards the end of the month. And the reason why I chose to use this for like ending the month and stuff like that is because I feel like this month of October has been like just teaching me a lot about like freedom from people and just like understanding people. And I'm going to do an entire like October recap talking about the lessons and just get into everything. But essentially I feel like this song is such a great way to end the month October because of the lessons that I learned. And the song begins with like whispers, so you're hearing like whispers of stuff like, oh, he didn't even know how to sing, oh, he's too thin, oh, blah blah blah, and it's like whispers of people giving opinions. And then it goes to a place where you just hear shh, and then the song starts, then he starts singing. So that's just a preface of the song. I want to also say that, no, I think I'll say that at the end. Okay, good. So let's go into the lyrics. This is 2 minutes of an intro. Okay, lyrics now. So the first verse goes, they are the best and the worst you've created, loving and hating and opinionated, loners in basements and those congregated, deliver me. And in this verse, he's mainly just talking about like people, like human beings, like people's personalities basically. So it's like the best and the worst you've created. So I've met good people and I've met bad people. Some are loving, some are hating, some are so opinionated and it's not a bad thing, but others are loners in basements and others are congregated in churches. So and then he says deliver me, so it's like just deliver me from all those things, right? And then it goes on to say, far from the peaceful shore I was sinking, deep in the ocean of thoughts they were thinking. Don't know what validation I was seeking, deliver me. And it's interesting because I don't think that part of the verse has ever hit me as hard as it has right now as I read the lyrics in front of you guys. Because, like, it says, far from the peaceful shore I was sinking deep in the ocean of thoughts they were thinking. So it's like I'm sinking into this nothingness, like just trying to figure out what is this thing that people are saying about me, like what is this person's opinion of me, what is that person's opinion of me, what is that church's opinion, what is that school's opinion and stuff like that. And he ends and he's like, I don't know what validation I was seeking, and he says deliver me, right? And if this first verse hasn't already clued you in onto what this song People is about, he's basically just like talking about being delivered from people's opinions of him, or like just being delivered from expectations. And I talked about this in another video, and like I don't think I will ever tire of saying like just having the freedom from people's opinions. I think that's ultimately what this part is. And that's what the song entirely is about. And so he goes into the chorus and he says, people, people, when you said you could heal me from anything, did you mean people? And the chorus is like a prayer, to be honest. I feel like the entire song may be a prayer, but then the chorus especially reminds me of a prayer because he says, when you said you could heal me from anything. And this is a conversation that Jonathan McReynolds is having with God, and he's saying, you said you could heal me from anything, and did you mean that people are also part of the people, like part of the things you could heal me from, and The chorus continues saying, I can't point them out. I won't say their names. I don't know the damage or which one to blame. It's just people. And I think that shows a lot. It's like sometimes when you get to a place where you're like I don't know who to call out. I don't know who caused this in me. I don't know. Like I know I'm feeling a certain way, and I know I could not have caused this to myself, but I don't know who invoked these thoughts in me and stuff like that. And it's like I don't know which one to blame. I don't know, and I really don't know. But just deliver me from people. And like second verse. Second verse goes into, she was the reason I smiled in the morning. He took the last bit of joy I was storing. Then he says, that's too much power for anything human. Deliver me. And I remember being so confused by this part because I was like, who is he and who is she and like what's happening? And I mean, I just figured it out. And I realized that this is a story that he's telling. Like, this is a human being story he's telling. So it's like, she was the reason I smiled in the morning, right? And this is maybe like a man talking about how, like, he was so happy because this woman was around his life and now she's not, right? And the second line is, he took the last bit of joy I was storing. And this line especially reminded me of a time in 2019 when I think I've talked a bit about this in my faith journey to faith video when I talk about how 2019 was such a difficult year. But like essentially it took me back to that time when like I wasn't as pure as I am now. Thank God for growth. But like basically just basing a lot of my emotions on what somebody else is thinking or what someone else is feeling. Like it took me back to those times when I was getting involved in situations where like I was not fully in charge of my emotions. Essentially I was very like dependent on other people's emotions, and if like somebody else is upset, then I am upset, and it's like, why am I upset? And it's not only 2019, but it's just like that time in my life. And I'm just thinking about anyone else, even like going back to a time when your joy and your sense of self was so intertwined with someone else that you didn't have your own emotions. I mean, I think when I remember it, I'm just like, oh my god, that's insane that I put myself in such a situation, because it's like I was given some instructions that I did not follow, and it's like, of course I suffered from them. But like, yeah, anyway, he says that's too much power for anything human, and it just talks about how like you cannot base your emotions and how you feel and how happy you are and the joy you have on other people. Like, you can't say that when that person is happy with what I have done, then I'm going to be happy, because human beings are humans, and like people are people, and people are going to disappoint you, and people are never going to be no one is ever going to be 100% happy with what you're doing, right? So essentially, if I use not an example, but like if I say, like for example, if I say I want to do this one thing, right? And my mom is not going to be happy about it. Or let's say I'm going to do this thing and my mom is going to be extremely happy about it. And so this thing, I'll do it and my mom is going to be so happy. And then I do something else that's not going to make her happy. And then I'm going to be like, oh my God, no, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one is going to be 100% happy with all the decisions you make, even though the decisions that you have made are for your best. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can see that this decision is going to give you peace of mind and it's what is going to help you in your life, then I genuinely believe you should take it and not think about other people's opinions. But in this song, he brings it out so perfectly, because we base our happiness and our sense of self on other people. And like, if we wear this dress that someone doesn't like, then we automatically feel like we're so ugly. And if we maybe eat this thing that someone doesn't like, or and someone comes to tell you, oh my god, you're so unhealthy, and it's like, bro, first of all, it's my health, not yours, so I don't want your opinion. But it's not even about being mean about it. It's just about, like, people sometimes are not careful with the things that they say, and people don't know how the things that they say will hurt people, right? So you'll be triggered, but like the other person doesn't know, and now you're the one who's hurt. And like, it's an entire struggle. And I know, like, I've gone through it 100%, and I think I still do. I definitely still do, but like, working towards getting to a place where like people's opinions do not hold as much weight as they did in my life. I think that's something that I'm going towards. So Anyway, he says that's too much power for anything human. Deliver me from people. And then the chorus changes, because in the first chorus he says, when you said you could heal me from anything, did you mean people? In the second chorus he goes on to say, I know you can heal me from anything. And this is why I'm telling you, it's like the chorus is a prayer to me, to be honest. I don't think the verses really go into the prayer, but like, I mean, they are a part of it, but I think especially the chorus has been structured in a way that it really feels like a prayer to God. Like, I know you can heal me from anything. And essentially I feel like I have gone through that prayer a million and one times, maybe this 1 month. I think I've just been in a place where it's like, God, I know you can take away this thing that like I'm thinking that I have to make this person happy. And that's, and you know what's interesting is sometimes making someone else happy is not making God happy, you know. And that's the very weird line, because it's like sometimes somebody wants you to do something, but that's not God's will, and so you're making God unhappy to make a human being happy. And it's like, where is your loyalty, you know? And not even loyalty, but like your priorities, right? Like, who are you thinking about here, a human being or God, you know? And I feel like if people are connected to God, then it's easier for you to do stuff for them, because ultimately we'll be like, oh yeah, God actually sends you to do that stuff, you know. But if somebody is doing something out of selfishness and then you fuel their selfishness, like, you know, it just doesn't work out. And so yeah, and that's the chorus. I don't want to repeat the chorus because it's literally just the same words, because he just says, I don't know the damage or which one to blame, it's just people. And he goes into now like the bridge of the song where he says, the hurt are hurting and the broken are breaking, the ones who had the joy taken away are out here taking. And this part reminds me of like when you download the album from like Apple Music or something, or I think even Spotify, there's a reprise version of this song where Pastor Mike Todd is preaching at the beginning, and then there's another group of people who are singing. I can't remember what they're called, wall something. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, in that version, Pastor Mike Todd actually says, he talks about stuff and he says, because hurt people hurt people. And I remember listening to this song in April, as I've mentioned in the other video. My friend got me onto this album, so I listened to this song in April, and I remember listening to that version and hearing that line, and I was like, that puts so many things into perspective. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, it really, really brings things into proper perspective, because you realize that like if someone is saying something mean about you, it has absolutely nothing to do with you and everything to do with what they're going through inside of them, you know. Because I feel like if anyone is okay, for example, I am the kind of person who genuinely, like, I don't know how to sugarcoat things. I can be very, very brutal. And I mean, I'm trying to work on it. Sometimes I forget, but essentially I come off very, very mean, right? And so a lot of people actually get offended by me because they're like, oh my God, why are you saying such a thing, right? And I'm like, I'm not really saying it from a bad place or like I want to hurt you or anything. I'm trying to understand the issue, or I'm trying to like bring something to your attention, or I'm just asking a question, literally. But people take it so personally. That's an example. There's another example where I could say some people literally will be out here saying bad things about you because they feel bad about themselves. I know, like for me, thinking about myself, sometimes when I see something on Instagram or when I see something like on YouTube or whatever, I have to take a step back and like figure out if I am judging this person because of an insecurity I have, you know? Because it's like sometimes, like for example, I don't like seeing people in bikinis on my Instagram timeline, right? And I remember for very long, for very long, I didn't really care about it. Then I got to a place where I was like, no, I just don't want to see this, right? And I realized that that was because of my own insecurity. So it has absolutely nothing to do with them. So I cannot judge somebody else for where, like, if that makes you comfortable, good for you. But I don't want to see it on my timeline because it triggers me, you know. And so I'm not going to come here and tell somebody, don't do this, because that has absolutely nothing to do with them and everything to do with me. So not very many people are like that, right? And not to put myself on a high horse, because it's taken like a long time for me to figure out that kind of thing. And so just to say that like not everyone is like that. And so there's people who are going to come and be like, that dress is so ugly, your body doesn't even look nice. But it's from jealousy, like it's not really that you don't look nice, it's that they don't like that you look nice, and so they're trying to tear you down. Like, if you think about all those movies that we've watched since we were growing up, all these mean girls, they're always mean because of an insecurity they have, right? They're jealous of this girl, and so they're going to be mean to this girl to break her down and stuff like that. And you realize that a lot of things happen because people are trying to tear people down because of the things they're feeling inside. And so this part actually, like, it makes so much sense to real life, because it's like broken people are breaking people. And I saw a post that once said that, like, it said something like, people are going to therapy for pain that was caused by people who need to go to therapy. And that's the truest thing, and it's like, if you realize that, like, most people, like, if you think about, like, family dynamics, for example, if there's a fight in the family, or like if people are just having issues in their families, many of the kids are going to have an issue. They're going to have, like, just mental health issues, they're going to have a lot of problems, and this was caused by somebody who needed to go to therapy and did not want to do it. And it's like, and it's not even pointing fingers at anybody, it's just me saying, like, essentially, when you hear someone saying something bad to you, and it's not that simple, like, to just be like, whatever. But if you hear someone saying something bad to you, more often than not, it has absolutely nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And I know for me, like, it took a very long time for me to realize that people are, like, for me in my life, people are not saying bad things to me, or anything like that. Nobody is saying anything to me to offend me. It's just people, like, no one is saying anything to offend me. But then I know for other people, there's people who truly say things to hurt people, and I've seen it happening. And it's like, why do you think you have the right to say such a thing to a person? Like, who do you think you are? You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of times, like, there's some conversations where I'm like, who does that person think they are for them to say such a thing to somebody? Who do you think you are? You're nobody. That's what you are. You're just a broken person refusing to heal. And it's very, very annoying for me to see such things. But anyway, essentially, that's what this song is. It's like, so many people out there, like, doing bad things to make other people feel bad. Like, when I hear stories about people talking about how they've been bullied, and like internet bullying, and like people just trolling you and stuff like that, I'm so glad I've never experienced that. But when I hear people talking about how they have experienced such things, and you realize that, like, many people are experiencing such things because of, like, their own insecurities, right? It has absolutely nothing to do with, like, you as an individual, and everything to do with them being in pain and not knowing how to deal with their pain, or even being in denial of their pain. And it's very, very heartbreaking. So anyway, and so it ends like, the ones that had their joy taken away are taking joy from other people. And then he moves on to this part where he starts calling out, like, the different personalities, right? So he goes, crazy people, trolling people, self-righteous people, entitled people, hating people, lying, disrespectful people. And at the end of this part, he says, forgive me when I'm one of those people. And I just want us to take a moment to realize how, like, what an awakening that is. Because throughout this video, as you've noticed, I have spoken about other people doing stuff to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that person did this to me and stuff like that. And I think I've mentioned it earlier, like, I had to realize that I could be that person doing that to other people. But this part of the song is where he actually says, forgive me when I'm one of those people. And that part especially is like, I remember listening to it and I was mind blown, because I was like, what? I didn't know this song was going in that direction, first of all. And second, that's such an awakening, right? Because now he moves the focus from, like, all these people doing things to him being one of the people doing those things to somebody else. And I know, like, for me especially, I've had, like, through the course of listening to this song, because I've been listening to this song since, like, March or April or May, truly cannot remember. But throughout the course of listening to this song, it's been like, me getting to this place where I have to remember not to be that person. And like, I mean, granted, I'm out here offending people all the time. Like, I'm not even about to say that I don't offend people, because I do. I am a master at offending people. Not saying that proudly, just saying that I know that, right? And not to say that I can't be corrected, but to say that I have recognized that that's a thing that I do. And I I have to take a step back and be like, why am I feeling like this, right? Why am I so intent on hurting this one person? Or why don't I want to help this one person? Or why don't I want to, live for the sake of the other human being? Why is it that I am so inclined to be selfish and think about myself only? And essentially, that's what this part reminds me of. Like, just forgive me when I'm one of these people. And like, more than even forgive me when I'm one of those people, I think my all time prayer has been like, let me know when I'm being one of those people. Like, give me a bit of an awakening when I'm being one of those people, because I never want to be that kind of person who's going to make someone feel like their opinion doesn't matter, or like they are a bad person, or like there's something wrong with them. I feel like I try my hardest to like just make people feel very confident in themselves. Um, and sometimes it doesn't come out in the most obvious way, but then I think ultimately I'm trying really, really hard to not be that person who is scarring people, to not be the broken person who is breaking other people, to not be the hurt person who is hurting other people, to not be the one who is taking away people's joy when I am not feeling joyful. I think ultimately that's just something that I have been praying about so much, and just wanting to not be that person who's making everybody else feel less than they are because I'm going through my own things. So yes, that's it for the song. Actually, that's it for the lyrics. I think this song was very, very wordy, as well as I've had a lot of opinions about it. But I just wanted to say that this song was actually based on his life. He talks about like the making of this album, and I think it was in this song that he says during that time when he was making this, when he was writing these songs or whatever, or even like what inspired him to write this song was he was at an what he was at a high at his career in his career he was at a high in his career, and you get a lot of fans, but you also get a lot of haters. And that's what it was, because at the beginning of the song, when I tell you there's so many whispers and people saying such negative things, it's literally like a lot of voices in his ear when he got to this peak of his career, right? And he was just and so he just thought about writing this song because of that, right? And I realized that this song is not really about how people are so bad and stuff like that. And I think we can easily focus on that, but it's more about us being obsessed with other people's opinions of us, and us being redeemed from that. Like, wow, us being redeemed from other people's opinions, and just like gaining that freedom from people's opinions and only thinking about God. I remember watching The Real one time, and Tamara was talking about like when she goes through heartbreaks and stuff like that, and she was saying I think she had like a cousin or something like that who comes to her after like a week, and it's like, remember who you are, but more than that, remember whose you are, right? And that is so good, because remember that God is your father, and that's whose you are. It's God, right? So I think ultimately that's what this song is about. Like, just remember whose you are and whose opinion matters. And that's God's opinion. That's whose opinion matters, right? So if you're living your life according to God's will, people may not like it, but it's God's will. And that's just a very big lesson that I'm learning from reading a lot of books. I read some autobiography that I mentioned before, and I just like this autobiography. I don't know if I should do like an entire like sort of book review on it, but like I remember reading it and just thinking this human being has literally just dedicated their life to following God's will. Like, when he felt like heaven was telling him to go in this direction, he would go, not ask questions. Human beings were shocked half the time. Nobody understood where he is. He's disappearing and going where, but like, and so that's just the epitome of listening to God's instructions, right? And so ultimately that's what it is. Like, this song is like, stop listening to other people's opinions, and it's more than that. Like, just God, deliver me from people's opinions. Something else that I wanted to mention about this song is, I've already talked about that. yeah, we just need to remember that people are people, and because people are imperfect, and not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone is going to like the decisions that you make for your life. Not everybody is going to be supporting you when you're doing the best you can for yourself. And that's okay, because I think ultimately I'm just learning that not everyone's opinion is necessary, not everyone's opinion is valid for my life. And that's not to say that people cannot have opinions, because I am a firm believer in people having opinions. So if you see me doing something, if you don't like my hair, if you don't like my makeup, if you don't like my dress, if you don't like my clothes, if you don't like how I did this, how I did that, if you don't like something, I am a firm believer in you just, saying it, right? But say it with love. That is one. Say it like you care about the person. Say it like you're trying to make them a better person, not like you're trying to tear them down. I think it's very important to make somebody a better person rather than just tear people down and make them feel like absolute trash. I think that's a very bad behavior that people have. Just being comfortable with like making people feel like trash and like they are the worst people in the world and stuff like that. And ultimately, I just wanted to say, like, do not be the person who is hurting people. Do not be the person who is breaking other people. It's not good. It's not good. It's not helpful. It doesn't help anyone. Something else that I like about the song is I really like how he brought out the story, how even though it was his life, I could relate with it, but more than that, anybody else can relate with it. Like, comment down below if you don't relate to the song. Like, if you don't relate, just write don't. And if you do, write do. But yeah, ultimately that's just what I like about this song. I'm gonna link it down below so you can go and listen to it on your own. You can watch the video. I think even the video is like so good, it shows everything. And ultimately that's just what I wanted to leave you guys with. Like, people are people, and that's okay, but like, you need to be more aware about your life. You need to be more aware about yourself. You need to be more aware about God's will in your life. I think it's very important to remember that. And yeah, so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.